Welcome everyone. This is Greg Boller again with our weekly Multihull Solutions webinar series. As we do each week, we're just going to pause for a few seconds whilst we wait for all the attendees, all those people who've registered to join the webinar to come online. And then once we do that, we'll get started with today's presentation. So just bear with us for a moment. In the background there, or up on the yacht there, we've got James Beebe, who's in Mooloolaba, the lovely Mooloolaba on the Sunshine Coast. He's there with Rachel holding the camera, preparing to give us a presentation today on the one of our brokerage yachts, the Lagoon 42. So I'm just going to share my screen for a moment. Okay, so I think we've got most of our attendees with us now, so thanks for joining us, and we hope this webinar today is helpful for those of you who might be in the market for a brokerage catamaran. Today is a walkthrough of a Lagoon 421, which is lying in the marina there at Mooloolaba, and James is going to walk us through. But just before we get there, we're going to, as we do each week, just talk about some of the housekeeping issues. So if you have questions today, your questions can be sent to us via the Q&A button. If you type your question there, we will then attempt to answer those questions either as we walk through the yacht, or we will answer the questions at the end. One thing we're going to be competing with today is Mother Nature. It is quite windy in Mooloolaba. So what we're going to be doing is there may be at times some interference from the wind. So if that's the case, decide to do Q&A. So that will be very, sorry about that. So the next webinars is what we obviously always talk about each week. We're very excited. Next week we have our Insider Tips for Cruising the Mediterranean webinar, which is being hosted by Michael and Marita Lysart, who have a fantastic YouTube channel called Let's Dance Sailing. We've already got a number of registrations for that webinar next week, and we're looking forward to that. And then the week after, we're going to have a live walkthrough, live from Thailand, from Phuket. Our colleague Andrew De Bruin is going to do a walkthrough of our Neil 51 trimaran. And then the following week after that, oh, sorry, yes, that's right. And then on the 3rd of July, we're going to have a walkthrough on, an interview with Gordon and Louise Coates, who just sailed the Elba 45 across from La Rochelle in France. That's the Elba 45 that we did the walkthrough on a couple of weeks ago. Myself, Greg Boller, I'm the new yacht sales manager. I'm doing this today. Normally we would have our colleague Patrick Gillow doing this, but he's got a bit of a sore throat. He's going to come online and have a chat for a couple of minutes and give us a bit of background on how our brokerage business works at Multihull Solutions. And then helping me is Rachel Crook. And then presenting today on the walkthrough is James Beebe. James, as you can see there, has been selling boats for a number of years. He's owned several cruising yachts. He's crewed many miles along the East Coast and around Papua New Guinea. So a very experienced consultant who has added great value to the team here at Multihull Solutions. Now I'm just going to unshare the screen for a moment, and I'm going to bring Patrick in to say hello. So there's Patrick. I'm going to allow Patrick to talk. So Patrick, can you hear us there, mate?
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you?
Fantastic. Well, thanks a lot, Greg, Dave, for helping me. Yeah, I've got some little nose or throat issues at the moment. So I think you're doing a great job there, helping us, supporting us. But just in a brief, first, my name is Patrick. As you know, I'm in charge of the used boat sales for Multihull Solutions. Been around this industry there with catamarans for the last probably 20 years now. But just in brief, yeah, we've got a strong team of passionate brokers ready to help you to either find the right boat for you or to list your existing boat if you're a boat owner. Got offices in Multihull there with James that you'll meet in a moment. In the Gold Coast, a big office with a hard stand and about 12 boats on display there around the year that you can go and have a look at and get familiar with the different brands and model. In Sydney, we've got the office in Rushcutter Bay to help you out as well. Then around the world, we've got office in Auckland, New Zealand, in New Caledonia, in Tahiti, Southeast Asia with 3 offices in Phuket, 1 in Singapore. So a lot of brokers around to help, and we are also networking with other brokers, the whole network of Fontaine Pajot, and also the biggest multi-hull specialists around the world in the US or elsewhere, so we can network to find the right boat for you. We are obviously part of the BIA, the Boating Industry Association in Australia, the one in New Zealand as well, and internationally we've become part of the IYBA, which is the International Yacht Brokers Association, to give a little bit more depth there into the service that we offer you. So that was in brief. I be happy to answer any questions at the end if you have any. Over to you, Greg.
Are you there, Greg?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. You can hear me now?
Yes.
That was very good. I was talking, but you couldn't hear me. So can I just ask if anyone's got the Q&A button there, can you just confirm that you can now see James and myself on the screen? Just to make sure we've got everything right before we hand over to James. Okay, thank you. I've been confirmed that that's all good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my camera off so we get James in full screen. There we go. And James, you can now introduce yourself and we'll get started with today's walkthrough.
Good on you. Thanks, Greg. My name's James Beebe. I'm part of the Multihull Solutions sales team based in Multihull. Probably one of the nicest destinations you can come to, so I encourage you to bring your yachts here. Come and have a look at some boats. What we're going to do today is go for a walk through Kinchega. She's a 2012 model Lagoon 421. Now, what we can do, basically the current owners are the second owners of the boat, and they live up in far north Queensland. Previously, the boat was owned by a couple who brought the boat over from Europe. So she's done a Pacific Ocean crossing already, and she's been brought into Australia and all the duty paid and all that stuff on the boat. So something you got to look for when you're looking at boats coming in from overseas, ensure that they're duty paid. I think what we do, fire away, we just have a wander through the boat. We'll go there. We're in the cockpit. It's really blowy, so we'll try and keep out of the wind as much as possible. As you can see out in the cockpit of this boat, the 421 has a good seating area, nice settee with it's an example of seating here for 8 people if you like. I had 4 big guys on here the other day. Sat around quite nicely and plenty of room. So it's a good entertainment area. Another feature is you'll see the gear down below, but this can be fully enclosed as well. It's got canvas with clears that come all the way around the boat here. And go too fast for you, Rachel. So make sure
no, you're right.
And on the helm station, we've also got some clears around there too. So what we could probably do, I'll just have a quick, while we're looking at it at the back of the boat, you can see we've got a dinghy that goes with this boat. and we've got 750 amps of solar panels there. Or watts, sorry, 750 watts of solar panel. We also have a wind generator, which gives us around about 250 volts, I think it is, or 250 amps per when you're at about 20 knots. So it's quite a good little system there. Got a nice barbecue, and also a Mariner outboard on this end, on this boat. So what I do,
so James, this yacht has obviously been owned by, as you said, by a couple of owners, but they've certainly fitted it out there with some good equipment, yeah.
It certainly has. For a cruising boat, coastal cruiser or international waters, the boat's set up very well. You got some really nice gear on this boat, large solar panels. The wind generator is excellent. You got radar, you got good navigation equipment, and dials and all that stuff as well. This boat has a water maker, desalator, 100 litres per hour, I think it is, which is a must. Well, you still got 700 litres of water on board and 600 litres of fuel. So it's good capacity. You got lots of range with the engines on this boat. They're all good features, and particularly if you're looking at doing remote sailing, they're the sort of features that you really want.
And in terms of safety gear and equipment, that boat that you're on now is tied up there in Mooloolaba and is ready to sail, yeah?
It is ready to sail. It's got a life raft on board. It's out of service, which is something that you will find on a lot of brokerage boats. So if you're going offshore, it's something that you have to attend to, and you probably get yourself a new one rather than just servicing one that's been around for a little while. It's probably the original one on the boat here at the moment. So that's a cost factor that you need to think about when you're buying a second-hand boat, and something that we should point out, or your broker will point out to you anyway, and it's a good thing, good question to ask. Other safety gear, yeah, there's PFDs for a number of people on this boat, for 6 or 7 people. But you probably, they're the sort of things that you want to personalise, Greg, when you're going out. And also an EPIRB, you want to make sure that you've got an EPIRB that's in date.
And then while we're talking there away from the wind and before we go running off around the boat, what about in terms of if someone signs up and purchases a boat from you, what about the change of ownership in terms of the paperwork process there?
Yeah, well, what we provide is really a safeguard for the buyer and for the seller by having a broker look after your boat. We provide BIA contracts, our standard contracts. So they've been vetted, they're standard industry standard type of contracts. And what we do as a brokerage, particularly for the buyer in this instance, is we'll go through and we'll check the PPSR, make sure that there's nothing owing on the boat. So people are ensured they're going to get clear title on the boat when they buy it. And we assist to an extent with registration transfers. We have all the paperwork filled out for you. If the boat's an Australian registered vessel, there's another set of paperwork that's required there too. So we just help you through that process.
That's fantastic, James. And listen, we've got a question there from Peter. Could you just, is that a parasol that's a passerelle, sorry? Is there a passerelle on the back deck there? I don't think there was there? Passerelle as in a boarding platform to get from the yacht across to the dock.
Okay, yeah, you can tell I'm not into the European docking side, but yes, it is. It is a docking board there in the back, aluminium. So that it's got a little plate that the other end sits into
Yes.
down on the steps, and yeah, you can use it for that. It's currently used for cutting boards for fish cleaning. So all manner of things you can use it for.
I'll just have a quick look at it for you.
So that's just secured on the back of the boat there.
Okay, and then while we're at it, while we're talking about registration and everything, we do have a question there from Peter. If you were to then undertake a survey of the boat, as in to arrange a pre-purchase survey, would that be conducted in Mooloolaba on this boat or in Coomera?
Well, there's a couple of things we can do. In Mooloolaba, we have the ability to get boats lifted out using a crane system here. It does tend to be a little bit more expensive, but it's something that is available, and there's also surveyors here. Another option is you can get an in-water part of the survey done in Mooloolaba, and if you find that that you're okay to proceed with that, or if you're happy to proceed from that point, you could then take the boat down to Coomera or preferably down to Boatworks, where we can help you out down there, or Brisbane or anywhere of your choice, but preferably Boatworks. And yeah, that's where you can get the out of water survey part done there.
So that's really good, James. And I think that information is good to cover just before we start walking through the boat, just some of the background about the purchase process. So now with less interruption, would you like to show us around the saloon and down into the cabins?
Yeah, okay. Well, welcome to the saloon at Kinchega. See, one of the outstanding things about this boat and the modern production yachts is this whole area in here and the head height and the 360 view that you get out around the cabin. So it gives you a great sense of volume in here, and you know, you can see yourself sitting down and enjoying a beer in the evenings, watching the sunset, and you're in a pretty anchorage and you can see all around you. It'd be really beautiful. And this boat has the forward-facing nav station. I suppose with the new equipment these days, it's starting to become a little bit obsolete with the new Fontaine Peugeots. I don't think we have nav stations in them anymore. But it's a good little spot. You can use it as a work desk as well. Put your laptop on it, and you've got all you need here to navigate around. So that's pretty good. In the galley, huge bench, lots of storage, 3-burner stove and an oven. This boat also has microwave and 3 sinks. I'm not sure why 3 sinks, but we have 3 sinks. I can't figure that out, but I have trouble with 1 sink. But storage is great. The other thing that we do have on this boat is really good refrigeration. We can get that. We've got a new fridge down here, which is a bar-sized fridge, but it's quite. I think it's about 130 litres. Later we'll get out in the cockpit. I'll show you there's another one out there, which is about 100 litres as well. And you've got a big freezer storage in here too. So plenty of space to pack all your marlin away when you catch that, and your wahoo. Heaps of room in there.
Yeah.
That sounds good. What else do we have? This boat doesn't have aircon, which is something a lot of people don't want the extra mechanical items on the boat, or the extra power draw usage. But it does come with a domestic style aircon, which the current owners just put in through the forward hatch. But just sitting here in the marina with the wind coming from just about 45 degrees off, what's that, 30 degrees, we're getting heaps of wind, of breeze, and it's circulating in through the cockpit and coming in through the hatches there. So the boat here, just in the marina, we're getting air, and if you're under anchor, you would be getting quite a lot of air flow through. So we'll have a bit of a wander downstairs, unless there's any questions there in the saloon. This boat's a...
Just before you go, James, we do have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
VHF, was there a VHF at the chart table there?
There's not at the chart table. It looks like there was one here. So the spot for it is there. But we've only got the VHF out in the cockpit at the moment.
I've been told that the extra sink is actually a dish drying or dish draining sink, so that you can, after you've washed up, you can put your dishes in there to let things dry without them shifting around.
All right. Well, that gives you an insight into my my habits with cleaning dishes. Yeah. As I was saying, yeah, this boat's a 3-cabin version. So the owner's version. So down this port hull, we've got a huge. I'll come down here so Rach can have a bit of a look. Okay, there.
Yeah.
Got a big queen size bed, which is and the beauty of this boat and the boats in that 40 foot size and up is that you get in the production boats is that you get a little island bed, and it makes a huge difference, you know, rather than crawling in on top of the bed all the time. You can actually get in around and you're not crawling all over the top of people, which is, you know, it's a great thing sometimes, but not all the time. So yeah, big roomy, heaps of headroom. There's probably 6'2" headroom in here, I would say. This on this boat, the original owners have. It looks like they've taken out the settee that was in here, and they've opted for extra storage. The wood match is pretty close, but you can tell that it's an aftermarket ad. But it's really good. The storage is just fabulous. You just don't get that on lots of boats. So it's great to have that much room in here. Also got covers over the hatches, which are the wonderful thing. Turns into fly screens as well, so you can keep them open. We're back on air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the owner's cabin as well, one of the features is the huge bathroom forward. Just gives you, you know, a really nice cabin style. You can close, when it's not locked, you can close this off, and you've got your own private cabin. A little bit more storage in behind the door as well. Another cool feature. In the bathroom.
How tall are you, James?
I'm 5'11", so gives you an idea if that's like a hand span above my head, even in the bathroom, the shower. Actually, there's even more room in the shower. So if you're a 6'2", 6'3", you'll fit in the shower, which is pretty cool. Nice little feature is 5 kilo washing machine. So that's pretty cool.
There's just been a question, sorry James. Is there PowerPoints in the cabin?
There are PowerPoints in the cabins. Yeah, we'll just go back and I'll show you a few.
Yeah.
But now what we've got in this is still got the European plugs in it, but we've got adapters that are available for pretty much all of these. Now the European power that runs through this is 230 volt, so it is compatible with our appliances and things like that, as far as I'm aware, in Australia. If anybody knows different, give me a call. I know Peter asked me that the other day, so I'm still trying to find an electrician who can confirm all that for you. But yeah, so there's one here. You find all the cabins have them. Over here in the main cabin, we've got a little adapter in that one, so it just plugs in. So I'm not sure how the earthing works on that. I think that was Peter's question earlier. So if you have a question on that, I'll find out and we can post that out to you later on.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions down there? If not, we'll get one more.
Maybe we rushed you out of that bathroom, James. Could you just pop back in and give us a better look at the bathroom, mate?
Yeah, I'm not having a shower. Okay, not demonstrating a shower for you. So here we go. So there's a ton of room in here. Like you could be 7 foot easily, and you got a little vent as well, which is pretty cool. Nice shower recess. I'm not going to turn it on because I'm going to get soaked if I do. The vanity's got a little heaps of storage in them, which is good, behind the mirrors. Probably can't see that from there, Rachel. And also in the cupboards down here. Although this could do with a little shelf in there to hide some of the piping, but there's a huge amount of space to put things if you need to. Well, yeah, while we're down here too, this is the holding tank on this side. So you've got I think it's a 60-litre holding tank.
Is the toilet electrical manual?
Toilet's electric on all the loos. So they're it's nice and easy. Water is in 2 tanks under the floor, boards down here. So ran centrally, so approximately under here. I won't lift the floor up because it's a little too much at the moment. They're plastic tanks, blue, and they hold approximately, I think it's 330 litres each, or 350 litres. Yeah, it'd be 350 because you're 700 all up. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Back over to the starboard side. Just before we go down, we've got TV as well. That's a 12-volt TV, so it runs on 12-volt power. Switchboard here, pretty basic, pretty standard. English and French on it, so you can get access to, or know what you're pushing.
We've also had a question, James. Does the saloon table drop down into a berth?
On this boat, no, it doesn't. It doesn't drop down. I can imagine if you wanted to modify, you just put in struts in there. You could do it. But no, on this boat it doesn't. Okay. Switchboard here for your shore power, and we've got a 5 kilowatt gen set, and also the inverter power. So this, I think it's a 2,000 watt inverter that's plumbed into it. So which way we go, down this way?
Yep.
So going aft, all right, first of all you see another bathroom. As you can see, I'll turn up here as well. So this is becomes the bathroom for the guest cabin, and also you can use it as your day head if you wanted to, I suppose, having the extra side door there. And it's also got a full shower in here, so it's nice and comfy with the door on it, so you're not getting your toilet wet, which is a lot of people really like that. And in the aft cabin, we've got another queen size bed. You can see, this is all the canvas and clears for outdoors. We've just got it stored here at the moment. And underneath this bed, you have access to the house batteries, the water maker, and the start battery down here. So it's quite full under here. On the port side under the bed there, it's actually it's a big cabin. You haven't got anything in there, so it's a huge area for storage. Or if you wanted to put a ducted aircon system in, I would imagine that's where you'd put it, put the system in there. So also under the bed there, you've got all the electrics just sitting under there. It's all it's very tidy. Taking a wander down. Got your forward cabin down here with another queen size bed. This one, I didn't take this off. It'd be nice too, but it comes with the boat. It's a topper for the mattress. They're basically the same mattresses that you find in the other cabins. And again, really roomy. And you got so much head height above the bed. It's not one of those, you know, the claustrophobic type. You're going to be okay in this bed. And also good airing too. It's actually one of the things I didn't point out in the aft cabins is the number of windows that you can open up in there and portholes. So you got good ventilation. And in here, you've got a small one over here and one's directly above the bed. So you've still got good ventilation from different directions. And I know Greg likes seeing me in the shower. So here we go, another shower forward. There's no toilet in here, just the shower. So you can keep yourself clean on both sides of the boat. Also under this bed, you got heaps of storage too. So you got, don't go in next to the sock. Forgot to remove the sock. Oh, okay, these are the shades that go around the cockpit upstairs. So
are there fly screens on all the hatches? Or?
On this boat, there are fly screens on all the hatches. No, not all of them, but all the top ones. They're in varying condition. Some of them are in good condition and some of them require repair. I have been told that repair is not a difficult job, and you can actually get the screens and the fly screen and the blockouts. They're available, and so it's just a change.
So James, I am here. I just haven't been talking because when I talk, it goes to a black screen.
Yeah.
But you're doing fantastic. Great walkthrough so far. So I'll let you carry on. But I just want to let you know, great feedback so far. Some good questions coming through, and just keep on going, mate. Doing great.
No worries. Well, if anybody's got questions that I can't answer just at the moment, you can flick me an email and or I'll follow up with you later on, and we can discuss anything like that. So there we go. So we'll move back. Oh, okay. No, we've got another blue here too. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we've also got for this cabin, we have the bathroom here, which is just the toilet, and there is a handheld shower in there as well. So you can use it as a shower, but if you do have the shower forward, so probably keep that one dry. Right, so where do we go? Do you want to go on a brave outside? See if we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just check first if there's any questions from anyone about the interior of the boat before we head out into the breeze. Just type your questions now and we'll get James to answer them before making him backtrack.
What I'll do, I'll just show you some of the storage on this boat. One thing that they have is a huge amount of storage, and you've got a little garage here, right, basically. Got the little the Fisher Panda 5 kilowatt gen set in the back there. You can access that through the portside cabin as well. It's got about 1750 hours on it at the moment, so it's not heavily used. This has also got netting that was all around the side of the boat that we took off for presentation. So if you've got a little dog or a little child, it's ideal to put that up around and keeps them on the boat. Bit more storage as well. We've got gas tanks over the other side. Table folds up if you want a little bit more space. I won't go there. We've got out here, we were talking about a fridge a little bit earlier. So got another fridge here, which was new a couple of years ago, 2019. I think they replaced that. Little bar fridge, and a little bit more space in here just for general stuff. But I had some people on the boat yesterday who were talking about possibly putting a freezer in there, just to give you additional freezer space.
Okay, so James, before we head out into the breeze, just so you know, a couple of questions have come up in respect to that. One is, as you're doing the walkthrough outside, can you please explain the sail infantry? And the other one is just give us a bit of a rundown on speed. I think this boat is a 6 to 7 knot style of boat, isn't it, under sail?
What, sorry, 6 to 7?
A 6 to 7 knot sort of boat under sail in a 10 to 15 knot breeze.
Yeah, that's correct, Greg. You'll find that they're not a race boat. This is built for comfort, and that's how you need to treat it. If you try to race it, you're just going to get a little bit disappointed. You need a different boat. Yeah, you're looking at that 6 to 7. You'd probably get 8s and 9s in the right breeze and the right conditions. Sail inventory, I'll do that down here. We have, it's all original. It's so you got the original main, which having a look at it, I had it up the other day. It's still quite a functional sail. It's a square top sail, which suits the rig size, which I think the water length on this one is 16.9 metres. So it's not a huge rig on it, but you got quite a good sail area with that square top sail. It's in, like I was saying, serviceable condition. So I think it's pretty good. You'll get a few more years out of it. Nice and crisp, and it's a bit discoloured. That's the only thing. The headsail is probably has been used a whole lot more than the main has, and it's got a little bit of fraying around the UV strip on it, which needs to be attended to. You could still sail with it as it is now, but personally, I would fix those sort of things. So it also has a Jenica, which is a furling Jenica. It goes on the bowsprit, and I'll show you that forward. It's sitting in one of the forward hatches. It's in original condition too, so it's been used quite a bit by the looks of things.
And James, one client has just mentioned there, it looks like there's an extra strut under the helm seat there. It looks like a post-factory fitting.
Yeah. I don't really know about that. I've been asked that before. It might be the same person. It looks like it's original, but I don't really know. So I can't see why it would have been put in, because it's sturdy as, and there's no cracks or anything like that around the base of the chair. So it's probably just put there for extra strength, whether it's a 421 feature or whether it's been put in aftermarket, I don't know. But I don't think it's not because the chairs come loose or anything like that, because there's definitely no sign of that anywhere around there. Hope that answers that question. But how you going there with the sound? Is that all right, Greg?
Yeah, that's really good. So maybe if you could have a chat about the helm station, and then you can do a walkthrough around the bow area.
Will do. Well, it's a really comfortable helm station. From the seated position here, we've got a see-through in the canopy above, so you can see the mainsail when it's set. You can see the headsail all around, and you've got good forward vision, even just sitting. So, and particularly after, you can see everything if you're reversing into a park. Standing up, you've got even better. You can see right through to the bow rails, and it's quite a comfy little spot, I reckon. In this boat, everything comes back to the helm section. So you've got electric winches for your halyards, for your sheets, and electric winches for your halyards as well. So your main halyard runs off that, and you could also run your main sheet off it too if you needed to. So everything comes back here, all your reefing lines, and they're all electric, which is really cool. You've got a Raymarine, what is it, E120 plotter here. We just don't have it turned on because it flickers too much with the on screen. And Raymarine interface here all through the boat, and your VHF radio out here. It doesn't have an HF radio, just the VHF. One thing it does have is an Iridium satellite connection in the it's over in the navigation table, so you just need to get that connected up and give you internet while you're out. It's pretty cool. So we wander forward. Any more questions here? Probably not. Well, another thing, engines start both here. The engines sound quite nice, and we've got about it's around about 1900 hours on the engines. On this boat, the digital readout for the engines has stopped working. So they put another counter which is inside the saloon, which is currently counting the engine hours. But I understand that they're all they match up and legit.
We've just had a question: is the soft top bimini original?
No, soft top bimini has, and the sail cover, I believe, has been replaced over in the last couple of years. So they're all in really good condition, and yeah, it's quite nice. There's a bit of salt spray on the clear above, but it's clear, so you can see through that quite well. And this all encloses around here with that white shade cloth that we saw downstairs. So this goes right down, and canvas all around outside. We'll see how we go going forward. Heaps of hatches on the deck. You've got heaps of ventilation. I'll try and keep close to you so you can hear me a bit better. As I mentioned before, the rigging is original as well. So it's a 2012, late 2011, 2012 rig on the boat. So she's getting to that point where in a couple of years you're going to need to, for insurance purposes, change the rig. If you buy the boat now and go off the current survey, you'll be 5 more years out. Depends on how comfortable you feel with the rig, but she looks quite nice. Heaps of storage space on this boat. A little bit different to the 420 model of Lagoons. They have a bigger net forward, so these compartments come back a little bit further. I'm not sure of the full arrangement of it, but I know that they've got bigger nets forward, and this one's a little bit smaller, so it's more solid. One of the things about this boat, it's got the big, like a seagull type bow underneath, which helps break the waves up when you're going through. So it helps reduce some of the slapping that you get on the boat. Yeah, storage, as I said, huge cabin. You can triple the size of your water capacity if you wanted to. There's probably a good 1.5 metre drop down there. And that's all just there's little shelving in there for tools and stuff that the current owner has. Same on this side here. It's another one. It's full of Now forward, we've got a collision bulkhead. Okay. Yeah, collision bulkhead forward on both sides. So that whole front area is storage down there as well. On the bigger boats, on the 440, that's a crew cabin. So not quite enough room for a crew cabin in there, but great storage. What else do we have out here? All right, we'll wander back.
Where is the anchor locker? We've had a question.
Oh, where's the anchor locker? Yep. Anchor locker is just forward here. So you've got a remote control for the anchor. The engines have to be started and running for the anchor to pop up. So I won't demonstrate that at the moment, but I've had it running. This has got sort of huge amount of chain, and personally I would change it because there's quite a bit of rust in some of that chain there. So the first part of it looks good, but some of the stored chain is a bit rusty. So that's probably a $500 job, something worth looking at though. And I would carry a lot more chain if I was out cruising. It's probably about 80 metres there, so it's probably not that bad.
What about in the hatch behind you there, James?
So it hatches on both sides, huge amount of storage yet again. So you've got big rope lockers, you put your fenders in there, your water toys, great for dive tanks, fit in there. You build racks in there if you wanted to, actually they could go in anywhere. So if you're into diving, great spot. And it's exactly the same on the other side. Over there you do have a deck wash, so we don't have a squiddly at that. So you got the hose and pump down in there, and a few other things. Bag of line, and your deck wash outlet. Stuff here. Over this side, got the same size locker. So I won't pull that out. That's the Jernica in there, and heaps of room in there as well. So great for lines and fenders. For those who like it, princess seats at the front. Right. So I think, Greg, unless there's anything else we can look at out here, we can probably head back into the cockpit and we can sort of fill some answers. There's some questions.
Just a quick question, James. Is there any cushions on board for that section where you are now?
Yeah, this boat's we've got 3 big cushions down in here, down in the portside storage. They're not matched for this area outside here, but so I imagine they've come off a lounge or something like that. But the owners have been using that out on the deck here, so they just put those cushions down and they just lie on them. So we haven't got cushions that fit all of this area here, but I'd imagine that you could get that made up really easily. In fact, yeah, we've even got the press studs for them on the deck. So there would have been a set of, sorry, I'm going to run the wind here. There would have been some seats on there. Another good thing is the grab holds on this boat. If you watch some of the reviews online of some of the newer boats that are out, one of the things that they don't talk about is, or they do talk about, is the lack of grab holds going down the side of the boat. So that's a really good thing. And you've got clip points, a couple forward, a couple along the deck here, so you can run some lifelines through and you can clip on at different points. A good handhold all the way through. Oh, engines. We'll show you the engine. Come over this side because I've taken the covers off. I'm sure you're going to have questions about engines because that's what I talk about a lot. Okay, this is down the engine bay here. We usually have another cover that goes across here, but I've taken it off. Just make it a little bit easier to see. I could take this one out actually. Might do that. So on this boat, you've got the 40 horsepower Yanmar with the sail drives. In this side, we have, it's going to be hard for Rach to show this, but we've got the inverter placed in underneath here, battery chargers in behind the engine. And what else do we have? Good access all around, really, good access to the sail drive. Yeah, and a bit of storage, and also really robust steering gear on this boat too. You've probably all gone upside down, have you? Okay.
Going fine, going fine.
What was that?
Going fine.
Going fine, okay. All right. So same on the other side. I won't open it up because there's just more stuff to move. But the hatches are good access here. If you're out at sea, you can clip on around here, around the life, any of the poles, and you're holding on. You've also got a deck shower out here too, and a really pretty good boarding ladder. So good for getting on and off out of the water. And yeah, I'll pop that back.
Yeah.
So that's just soundproofing that. What I reckon, I don't know whether you could do it. What I do is put soundproofing on this and get rid of those boards. Makes the access a bit easier. These are some of the mods that you might want to do. Well, you know, when you get a new boat or a second-hand boat, there's always things to do. That's part of the fun of owning a new boat too, is stamping your own, getting a brokerage boat, stamping your own thing on.
Making it your own.
Making it your own, yeah. So, what do you want to sit out here? Let's go inside. So if you've got any questions, we can field those, or if you want to look at anything in particular, just let me know.
So James, how are you, mate? I've put my camera back on now, and my microphone, so everyone can see you and me, unfortunately. But listen, first of all, that was fantastic. It was a bit tough out there with that wind for you guys to communicate, but it all came across really well. We do have a couple of unanswered questions, so whether you want to stand up or sit down, and we can just wrap up with a couple more questions.
I'll make myself comfortable.
That's fine. So listen, one of the questions has been just about the hull condition. Any issues with that dirty word, osmosis, and anti-foul? When was it last anti-fouled?
Okay, good question. Future.
Very good. Now listen, folks, those who everyone stayed in attendance today, which is fantastic. We'll be wrapping up this webinar in just a couple of minutes, but just before we do, a couple of last questions for James.
Yeah.
The cost of a survey. So from your experience, if someone did want to come along and get to the stage of considering the purchase and they want to get the boat surveyed, how much?
Generally, surveyors up here, I know, are charging round about the $25 to $30 per foot mark. So you just do the math on that. 42-foot boat, you're looking at about $800–900. It might be a little bit more for a catamaran. I am talking monos, but I don't think so. So you're looking around budget for around $1,200 maximum, I think. And another option would be to get an engine survey done as well, where you can just get a mechanic to come through and do a check on your engines and verify hours on them. And yeah, you can also get an oil an oil test on them too if you're a little bit worried about the engines.
Well, listen, I'm very impressed. I think the boat, you've certainly presented the boat well, James. It's in great condition. You've obviously, whether it be you or others, but the boat's been given a great clean, and it's certainly presented extremely well for a 2012 yacht.
Yeah.
And how long has this boat been on the market?
She's been on the market for, I think it's about 6 weeks now.
Okay.
So we did have her on the market. Probably we put her on a little bit early because we hadn't polished her at the time. But she's come up really beautiful with a cut and polish on the white work, and all the stainless was really good anyway. So we didn't need to do too much with that. And inside she's had just a basic detail.
So what I'm going to do just before we finish, I'm just going to bring Patrick back in. He's obviously, I can see, I hope he's still there. He's been watching the presentation. I'll just ask him if he's got anything to add, anything that he thinks we may have accidentally missed. So I'm just going to unmute Patrick and ask him if he's got any comment. Now, this means that our cameras will probably turn off for a minute, folks, but just bear with us while Patrick has a chat. Are you there, Patrick?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Talk away.
All right, lovely. No, great job from both of you here, and Rachel, the excellent presentation. Thank you for the support. No, I think for those interested, there's a mine of information available about registration, survey, and all the questions that you may have through the process of buying a boat on our website. So do not hesitate to check it all out. We've done a lot of research, and we've added a lot of tips, advices, and helps there, which are available to everyone online. But obviously, do not hesitate to call us, James, or any of us there for more further details. We'll be happy to help you. Thanks so much.
And while you're there, Patrick, we've had a couple of questions in this webinar and also last week. What's the market been like during the COVID crisis? What's the market been like for brokerage boats?
Well, we've been gladly surprised. I didn't think it would be that good. We were getting ready for the worst there, with all the panic being announced everywhere in the news. But I guess a lot of people were sitting on in front of their computers looking at boats, and we managed to secure a few sales there during the whole panic and kind of a confinement, at least here in Queensland, just the borders. We sold a few boats to Queensland in Queensland. We sold a few boats in New Zealand even just before.
Oh, sorry, Patrick, I don't know what I've done there. Just bear with me for a minute, Patrick. Sorry. Sorry, Patrick, I just cut you off. Can you come back in? Sorry, mate.
Right. No, I was saying it was a good surprise, and we even managed to do a few sales with clients overseas from the US, believe it or not, with the new tools that we've got with the videos and the 360 visits, 360-degree visits that have been put online. We've triggered some interest from overseas, and the brokers have been able to use the available technology to do those inspections remotely, like we've just had now with this camera. We can do this for people overseas to go and have a detailed visit of the boat while they're sitting and having a whiskey there in the lounge. So we even did, believe it or not, one sea trial through the same mean there. Someone was just sitting, wanted to see how the boat would behave, see the sails up and everything. And we've managed to sell 2 boats to 2 different American buyers. And one of them will be delivered with a crew, and the other one will be shipped on a cargo in the next few weeks. So, so far, so good. Keep your fingers crossed.
And Patrick, the other question that pops up quite a lot is on the Multihull Solutions brokerage website. You have quite a few yachts listed that are lying in Europe, in the Mediterranean and in the Caribbean. Can you explain how Multihull Solutions is able to support an Australian buyer wanting to buy a yacht in Europe or overseas?
Sure, that's a good question. Well, first of all, with most of those boats, we've got some contacts on site, the caretaker, sometimes the owner himself, but in current times, those owners are usually back home now. But we've got some people there on site who can organize that remote inspection. We've got our network of brokers who work with us, and a lot of them, are over there in Europe from the network of Fontaine Pajot that we represent, but a few others there as well, whom we can use to help us there on site if we cannot travel over there ourselves to hold the hand of our clients.
Okay, I think I've just found the setting that allows people to see James and I at the same time while you're talking, Patrick. A bit late now, but one of the other questions there is, oh yes, is there a brokerage office for Multihull Solutions in Western Australia?
Yes, sorry, we do have our agent over there, David Smell, is helping us in WA. Should have mentioned this earlier on. He's representing us. At the moment, it's a bit difficult because I think the conditions have been of the confinement have been a bit harsher in WA. But soon enough, he'll be able to travel again freely and try to find some more listings and help our clients stay on site. He himself is one of our clients, has bought the new Lucia, among other things. So he's a very experienced broker and advisor.
Excellent. Okay, Patrick. Well, listen, thank you for joining in there, and we're going to wrap up very shortly.
Nice.
I will let you go. I'm going to put you on mute if that's okay.
Yep.
We'll wrap up here shortly. So, James, thank you also. I'm just going to share screen now to just bring us back to our document here. And once that clicks in, there we go. And so there's a bit of information there. And so this presentation will be up on our Multihull Solutions website for the next week or so. And then we'll also be added as one of our YouTube channels. A reminder about next week's webinars, the insider tips for the Med, after that the Neil 51 walkthrough, and then after that Gordon and Louise's adventure. So that's all for today. I'll just stopping the share there. Thank you to everyone for joining us. We've had a good number of attendees there today, and I think that's really worked as a presentation for that Lagoon yacht there. James, you've done really well, and I hope you get some inquiries, mate.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks everyone for attending.
Okay, so everyone, we're going to sign off there, and thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you.